There's so much that can go wrong today. I've decided I'm going to have to put John in position. Now, I'm going to have to think of a way of doing that. What I thought I would do is measure my canvas, get the picture of the, well, I've got a reference photo, and I'm going to scale it up, and then I'm going to print it out, like Jason did, to canvas size, and then I'm going to trace the image over that. So I'm going to go and do that now. And well, we'll come back and I'll show you what I've done, I think. So I did it. I did it as well. I did. Yes. The old tongue gets wrapped around the teeth sometimes. Now I come up and I've done that. See? So I've actually printed it out full scale. Well, that's what I'm going to work to as well now. When I actually paint John, I can keep that there like that, and I can actually paint him directly. But I could put actually next to him like that, couldn't I? And I've actually taken a liberty of doing a tracing as well. Now I got to get that onto there, and the quickest way I can do that, I think, would be to ideally what you should do is use some charcoal or some pencil or something on the back of this tracing. So if we cover the back of it like that and then put that on there after lining it up, we can trace it on. But I thought of another way of doing it. So I'm just gonna get him in position roughly like that. Well, not roughly, it's got to be as accurate as I can get it. I need to secure that in place now. I got some masking tape here. As long as it works, then it works. So there's no mistakes in art. Never forget that. Just because you may be the first person who actually think of doing it. I don't know. But it's always a good idea to try things, and if it works, then it can't be wrong, can it? That's how I look at it. It can't be wrong if it works. You've got to get into a mindset of trying to solve problems when you're doing things like this. I don't know. I presume that he painted the background and everything, then he started working on John, getting all that blocked out, which is what I'm going to do next, I think. Now I've come up with this stuff. Do you know what that is? It's carbon paper. This is a paper when you used to do the typing, the typing with the typing typers before we used to have PCs and things, and that used to go between two pieces of A4 paper, and they used to type. And they used to make a copy of it. Carbon paper. I had some lying around in a drawer. I did. Why did I have some lying around in a drawer? Because I used to have a typewriter, and I used to like using a typewriter. So I've got a few packets of this going back quite a while ago, and it seems to be okay. So I'm going to put that there. Making sure that's going to fit in place. I'm going to secure that to my canvas. I'm using low tack. Decorators masking tape. This is. So I'm going to pull that down tight. I'm just going to secure it there. There's not going to be any adhesive coming off this, so it's not going to go onto my painting. And I'm hoping this will work well. So all I need to do now is grab a pen rather than a pencil. This is going to leave quite a dark line as well, so I'm going to do that and just speed that up a bit, I think. Okay, so as I said, I'm speeding that up, and I'm doing a little bit of narration while I'm at it, and I'm just using a basic ballpoint pen, and I'm going around the outline that I actually traced. So that's going to go through the carbon paper and then put the image down onto the canvas, which but I'm not going to bother sealing that in. I'm just going to paint over it. It shouldn't affect my paints too much, I don't think, if anything. But yeah, make sure you use a pen like I'm doing, because you can see where you've been then. And you know, but as Jason said when he was doing his, you will forget bits and pieces, which is quite disconcerting when you actually come around back and painting it. So take your time, use the detail, do the detail correctly. And as you can see me now, I'm just working on the shirt and around the frill of the cuffs. And I'm going to be going down. I don't think I'll do much to the dog's head at all, because that's already in place. I managed to get that in earlier. So hopefully this will work. Fingers crossed. Okay, so now is the moment of truth. Let's remove this and let's have a little look underneath to see if that's come out. That's pretty good, in actual fact. That's pretty good. What's that? That must be his hand where he's holding his glove. That's pretty good, I like that. Okay, so let's remove this completely now. And keep the tracing. We can keep this tracing for reference. We might need to replace that over that at a later stage, just in case we make a mistake during painting. So that's always handy. Let's try and remove this. There we go. Keep that as well, because we can reuse that. Don't chuck anything away in the studio. And then we can put John there, like that. Put a bit of tape there, like that. So there he is, and there he is there. So we can work on that now, and try and look at this. Add that a little bit. Okay, so he's got a bit of light there. Okay, so I think we're gonna start blocking him out, I think. Just drop my easel down. There we go. Drop my easel down. Bit of paint. I got some paint left on my palette from another lesson, so let's have a look what we can do. Let's just get I'm just going to go into a filbert brush. I think I'm going to go into burnt umber like I normally do, I think. Got some burnt umber here. I think I can play around with that then. Ideally you mix paint with a palette knife, but if you're only going to use small amounts of paint, using your brush is actually fine as long as you wash your brush out properly afterwards. So that's going to come, that's his hairline. Let's have a look at this other painting. Let's put it straight. So that's going to come across there like that. So this is just a block out, so it'll give us, like we did with the tree, and I can overpaint this later on. I know it sounds like it's a long drawn out process, but that's how I like to work sometimes. I just need to adjust my seat. Winding my seat up. That's better. Okay. Got one of these proper artist stools. One of the only seats I found comfortable, actually. The old traditional artist stool. Okay. Now, put that down there. Let's just do his jacket, his collar. He's got quite a funny old arm here. It comes out like that. It comes down there. And then a little bit of Prussian blue to my burnt umber, because that's going to darken it up like a black. So I'm just going to put a grey in there. Overload your brush sometimes, and not always a good thing to do. I think what I'll do is I'll actually just narrate this, because all I'm doing now is just blocking out John, and I think it's easier just to narrate it rather than speak my way through it, because concentration levels are quite high with myself at the moment, which is unusual for Clive, because he's normally waffling on about something or other. Okay, so I'm just going to switch over to myself and doing a bit of narration. And I've absolutely no idea what you're going to be talking about, Clive. So what are you going to be talking about? I think I'm just going to talk about what we're actually doing here, Clive. That's quite interesting. Yeah, it is. Okay, I'll leave it to you then. All right, cheers. So no problem. I'll see you later. All right, okay, thank you. So it's goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from him. So let's start. And welcome back. Yes, so I'm just going to start blocking out John Plampin's jacket. I'm starting off with a thin coat of Prussian blue. I'm adding a little bit of carbon black to the blue, just to give it that dark effect. And I'm not going to be worrying too much about the actual lights and darks and mid-tones at the moment. I'm just basically getting a shape. I think this particular paint, and I'm just using a little bit of burnt umber with the Prussian blue, actually, just to give me that grey effect. and it's a good way to just establish where your lights and darks are going to be, rather than just go plodding in straight in and doing alla prima. I find it a lot easier just to establish tones and things first, especially if I'm doing a direct copy or like this. I did the similar thing with the girl with the pearl earring. Please check that out. If it's not in the iCards, just go to clive5art in the search bar, and you'll see it on the playlists. I'll put a little link. I'll put a little link there somewhere, and then you can just go along and do that. I've done that to remind myself. So just establishing this shape of this jacket that comes down. This is like a velvety, bluey, velvety coloured jacket, I think. I've been watching a lot of period dramas recently on the TV. You know, 1800s. So I've got an idea roughly what type of material this is. It looks like a crushed velvet, very similar to a crushed velvet, I think. There's got a bit of gold trim around it. I got this horrible feeling he's going to start looking like Nelson pretty soon, with his old hand in his in his jacket. It could be a young Nelson, actually, couldn't it? Yes, have to draw a pigeon sitting on his shoulder or something. So again, as I said, I'm just establishing these colours. There's a little bit of tree missing there. I need to put that in at the later stage. And what I'm going to do when I actually start building this up with colour is I'm just going to go ahead and glaze it several times before I re-video another diary, I think, because I need to work a little bit more on those trees. I'm looking. I need to put a little bit more down into the ground area, into the foreground. I'm going to leave the dog until the last possible moment, I think. I'm not too sure. Things can change. Didn't edit that very well. So the other difficulty I'm going to get is with his hand. I'm going to have to do a tracing of his hand, I think, unless I do that freehand. Well, if he had three hands, he would look awkward. So I know Jason is going on pretty well with his lessons, with his painting, not lesson, or his lessons as well. You need to check his channel out. Please go ahead and check his channel out, jasonbowen.com. Yeah, I'll put a little link down below where you can click and go in to see his work. So mix a little bit of blue, a little bit of white, just to do an off colour into his shirt, because it's got it looks like a silvery, shimmery, goldy type of waistcoat. I don't know, it must be like a shimmery silver white, I think. I'm not too sure. It's a bit awkward working from the painting, the photograph that I've got, because it's not an accurate photograph, but there's a lot of this is I'm just guessing, which is good sometimes. And what I will say is that when you start out painting, don't beat yourself up. Don't try and do everything perfect the first time, because it's not going to happen. A lot of beginners tend to beat themselves up because they want to be perfect and accurate, and it doesn't. It comes with time and practice. You don't get that as you're starting. So just be grateful and just be happy with what you're actually turning out. You're not going to get everything 100% as you're starting off. So just give it time, give it practice. Don't beat yourself up over it. It's taken me a long time to get to this level, and I'm still learning. As I've said on other videos, we never stop learning, and that's the key thing with this. Is this a grisaille painting? Sort of, I suppose. I don't know. I'd like to establish tones and values where I'm going to put things, rather than going in alla prima, means painting directly and in one sitting, basically. You can do that. I think Jason is doing that, actually. He's just going in straight in with colour, whereas I tend to put in a base first, and then I establish in my mind's eye where things are going to be. So as I work in through this stage, I'm not just checking And my battery's running low on my mic. When I'm working through this stage, I'm thinking about the painting, but I'm also thinking about the next stage, where the lights are going to be, where the mid-tones, where they're going to be, where's the shadows going to fall, how dark is his trousers going to be, the top of the leg is going to be lighter than the bottom of the leg, what's the finishing colour of that trousers, are they going to be darker or lighter than the jacket? So I'm thinking about all of this as we go on. So I just played a little bit of music there then, just to paint away the stress. Coming into putting in the actual colours on the jacket now. So I've established where things are going to be with the underpainting. Now I've mixed a little bit of carbon black with my Prussian blue in this particular stage, as you can see by the arm, and I'm just establishing the darker parts of this particular jacket, and these are going to have this painting on the jacket and the trousers are going to have several glazes of colour. I'm going to, after I finish painting this, I'm going to let it sit, and then I'm going to glaze it with vermilion, and I'm going to glaze it again then with Prussian blue, and I'm going to go back into vermilion, and I'm going to build it up that way. I can paint it directly if I wanted to, as I said earlier on, but I want to get that oil painting effect, that luster, and that's why I chose to do it this way, because it just makes life a little bit easier. Now you can see I've got the reflection on the sleeve of the jacket, and I've got the cast shadow and the shadow under the armpit of the jacket. Now I'm working on the tail of the coat, just underneath that arm. I'm going to have to put a little bit of light in there in a second, just to separate the dark from the elbow to the tail of that jacket. I've got to be careful where I'm going to put that light in. So we need to separate the two darks. Even though it looks dark, there is a separation in there. So I'm going to mix a little bit of white, I think, now with some Prussian blue, and I'm going to add that in to the jacket just under that elbow there. As you can see, that's what I'm currently doing, and that's just going to separate that elbow from that jacket. I'm going to bring a little bit more light down in and paying attention to my reference material, constantly looking at that photograph and thinking, right, where's the lights fall? I want to try and get this as accurate as I possibly can, and then just building up midtones and highlights and shadows. That's all I'm doing. Thinking of the trees now, I'm going to have to start putting in some glazes of colour. I'm going to mix later on, when I come back to this painting, I'm going to be mixing some burnt umber and some carbon black and establishing some shadows on these trees. Now I've already done several layers of painting onto those trees to establish it, where they currently are, but I need to build up again, constantly thinking of detail. And it's all these little subtle transactions, all these subtle transitions now between lights and darks, and you can see on the sleeve I'm already developing the depth of that jacket now. I'm building up the sleeve. It looks as if you've got the slightly ruffled, not ruffled, but the sleeves seem to be slightly wider on this particular jacket, but that's what it is on the painting, so I presume that's what it is in real life, if I was there. So sleeves seem to be a little bit baggier, but I just left a couple of thin lines there, ready for the braid. The braid is in gold, I think, so I'm gonna have to mix a little bit of gold. Gold is easy to mix up. It's just a little bit of yellow ochre, that type of thing, and we'll just make up a goldy type of colour. There's no point buying paint. We can make a lot of colours ourselves. And again, I'm gonna have to look at that shirt in a little bit more detail too. I think it looks like a naval type of jacket, actually, doesn't it? It looks quite formal. I don't know whether it's just a day jacket he's wearing for this particular thing, or is he in the Navy or something? I don't know. Maybe we should research that and have a look. I think. So I'm standing up. I hope I don't get my big belly in the shot now. Block the camera, and you don't normally see my belly because I'm sitting down. I'm not overweight. I'm all right. I just got a bit of a belly. That's my excuse. I'm sticking with it. Okay, so well, just continuing building up this this jacket now, and I'll continue. I'll put a little bit more music on, and then we'll come back in just a second. Okay, we're going on to 42. Time point approximately 42, and playing. So as you can see, I went in. I'd done a bit in the face. Now establishing just a little bit of shadow there. I builded up that jacket and the hat in the same way, using the lights and the darks. Now I'm trying to establish some features. This is not an easy point for me, because obviously a master artist I am not, but I'm going to try and just establish some basic shapes on this face now. I'm just using different types of, I'm using a bit of yellow white, a bit of white with yellow in it, and I picked up a little bit of yellow ochre, and I got a little bit of orange on my palette. I'm just using the colours that were there from a previous lesson. For those people that have been following me, it was the duck painting I did, flying in the reeds. That's the palette I've actually got down, so I'm just using those colours. I don't waste paint, so I try to use the colours I've got to hand. Picked up a little bit of a brighter yellow there. It looks like a bit of yellow ochre, and that's a bit too strong, but we can tone that down, just establishing the shape of John's face. Bring in just a little bit of highlight onto the nose, onto the bottom lip, onto the chin, and just trying to get develop some shape there, following the reference, as you can see. This is going to change as it dries. I can manipulate it a little bit more and paint over something and pull the nose out and all this type of stuff. We're just in detail a lot. The jacket is detailed with the braids and the buttons and things like that, which I will put in place hopefully at the end of the lesson. But I'm not too worried about the actual jacket and that itself, as long as it looks velvety. Just adjusted my easel there. As long as it looks velvety, then I can live with that. So as I just said, I'm just putting in the braid now. I adjusted my easel because I got a lot of glare on the canvas from my studio lights, which I don't normally have on when I'm not videoing. I've just got a painting light which I use, which is a daylight bulb. It certainly is. So because the canvas is really glossy at the moment, because I've glazed and glazed and glazed, I'm going to have to put some matte glaze on there and just matte it down to stop the glare, and that's going to help reflect the light as well. So just trying to establish his eyes a little bit now. I'm going to have to put a little bit of white in there in a second. I'm just going to, you've got to get this, the proportions right. If I can get that triangular part of the face right, and sitting on an angle like that is not an easy portrait to do. I normally try and paint portraits head on if I can, because that's the easiest way. Don't make it difficult for yourself. When you somebody sitting on an angle like that, that's a lot harder to paint than somebody painting sitting directly in front of you. It's the same with pet portraits as well. I don't know if you noticed, if you've seen any of my pet portraits, you'll notice that I normally paint my pet straight on, because it's easier and I can paint it a lot quicker. And the only way really to make money doing it with artwork is to paint quick and sell it quick. Otherwise, you won't sell much. You know, you've got to get used to knocking these things out if you want to sell them. But some works just take a lifetime to finish. I put a little bit too much white in that eye. I think he looks as if he's got mumps now. So I got longer projects which I've been painting for a while, but these are paintings of love, really. Gainsborough was turning out 300 a year, I think, so I don't know exactly how that breaks down. I'll have to work that out. So there's certainly 52 months in the year, so if we put down 300 divided by 52 weeks, not months, 52 weeks, Clive, not months, 52 weeks, so about 300 paintings a year, divide that by 52. She was turning out 6 paintings a week. So he must have had 6 on a go at any one time, roughly. So he's fast. He was painting fast. He was painting, putting that up on the wall, letting it dry, start doing a bit of work on the other one, putting that up, letting it dry, doing work on this one, putting that up. And he's in sequence there like that. And you know, he's got rid of one, he's started another one. He's got rid. It's like a little production line. And he must have been painting his little hands off, I think, because I certainly couldn't do that. Certainly could not do that. Couldn't keep up to that standard of painting. But I suppose if you want to make money, you've got to work hard at it. So just doing the hair, and I think I'm just going to stop narrating now. I'm just going to finish off this session with a little bit of music. Please continue to watch, because it's quite a little bit more to do. Like, comment, share and subscribe. Please pop along to Patron, and that's a public funded site where you can support me for as little as $1 a month, and that money is used to put into video lessons like this, and well, just to help you, provide you with some and provide people with free lessons and information. There we go. Yes. So don't forget to click that subscribe button, and thank you very much for painting away the stress of everyday life with me here in Wales today. Bye bye. Don't forget, watch it to the end.